Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, you want me to work during the day? Sure. School bus drivers must follow the rules. It's your policy on clocking in. Give your brother water. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. You want me to work during the day? Sure. A few jobs back I was a callow youth on my second proper IT job. The place was quite relaxed, and being somewhat of a night owl, I worked the late shift, usually about midday to 9 p.m., and got quite a lot of things done when there were less users around to complain about interruptions. Especially server upgrades. We had Solaris file servers in various places throughout the town, and I would generally publicize an upgrade that would take the system down at 5 p.m. and it would be back up by 9 a.m. the next morning. This included the time to back up the data in single user mode. Cost dumps preferred that upgrade any hardware, usually none, costs while they were relaxed. They were also underfunded, reinstall the OS, restore the data and tidy things up. I would generally work though the night to get this done, clocking off at about 4 a.m. when the user data restore was happening, and be back at 1000 to 10:30 to pick up any immediate issues. So I'd got into a email ding-dong with one of my colleagues. He was wrong, of course, and it had expanded to include the boss, who told us to sort it out. I proved my point with data, and then it all went quiet. A couple of days later, the boss says he's had complaints about my timekeeping and he'd like to see me in at 0900 from now on. I guessed that the colleague had complained, and so I asked boss directly, and he said he couldn't tell me that, but his facial expression made it obvious. So, I said okay, and shifted my life around for the new schedule. About 3 weeks after this, I was due to upgrade the IT department server, and I'd said that it would take a little longer, cause I was only doing 9 to 5 and nobody really commented. So, Monday morning I take the system down to single user mode and start the user data backups, to exabyte tapes using dump, 1M, it was pre 2000, and I think the upgrade was from Solaris 2.5.1 to 2.6, and let it run for most of the day. Round about 3 p.m. I change tapes and start the OS and utils backups. 5 p.m. I go home. 9 a.m. the next day I roll in with a coffee and start the reinstall, from CD media, and then sit down and check the console occasionally. Starting about 10:30 there's a stream of people asking when the server will be back up. Maybe towards the end of today, maybe early tomorrow, depends on tape speed restores, I say. People are not getting their work done. Those machines that didn't boot off the server, Sun-diskless clients, and had PCs or Macs still had their email and home directories on the server, to ensure backups, am I right? So the entire department is sitting round doing not a lot, mainly answering phone calls, creating local documents, surfing the web, such as it was back then. About 4-ish the boss turns up and say, okay, you've made your point. When will the server be back up? Depends. I can have it all working when people come in tomorrow, or I can start working on it again tomorrow morning at 0900. What's your call? And that's how I got my new 10:30 to 1100 start time negotiated. I should say that boss was a reasonable dude. We generally got on, and he admitted the benefit of me working those hours in our subsequent conversations. He was also kind enough to only schedule meetings involving me in the afternoons. School bus drivers must follow the rules. As a teen in the early 80s I babysat for a couple that lived down the road. My regular bus driver would let me get off at their house on the days I had to watch their kids. Then he retired and we had a substitute bus driver for the rest of the year. She refused to let me off anywhere but my own driveway. Wouldn't take a note from parents or anything. It was less than a mile, but still annoying to walk back. About a month later she forgot to stop at my driveway to let me off. When I walked to the front of the bus she said she thought that I wasn't on the bus that day and proceeded to stop at the next house and opened the door to let me out. I refused and made that lady back up the 50 feet to my driveway. Still makes me laugh whenever I think of it. It's your policy on clocking in. Back in high school I worked a couple summers for the local college doing things for their dorms, cleaning, painting, maintenance stuff. Their pay policy was monthly, 2 weeks behind, which I learned was illegal but I was a teenager and didn't know how to fix. Payday was always the last day of the month, which for most of us broke teenagers meant starting in middle June, after school got out, and not getting paid until July 31st. There were roughly 40 to 50 of us who had to clock in with a barcode scan, PIN, and job code. We were allowed to clock in within 2 minutes plus or minus of start/stop. I quickly leaned that being first to clock in at -2, last for lunch +2, first after lunch -2 and last in line +2 at the end of the day resulted in 8.1 hours per day. Nobody noticed until sometime in July as they were processing payroll. I pointed out I was in compliance with their policies and the rounding on their system wasn't my responsibility. I kept it up all summer, not like they could fire me. An extra 0.5 OT per week might not sound like much but every dollar counts, especially when it's free money. Give your brother water. Title sounds bad lol but read on. This happened years ago when I was a kid, 10F, with my brother, 15M. I grew up in a household where females are to cater to men and once during dinner, my brother asked me to get him water. Growing up in the US, I was not of the cater to men mindset, even though my parents tried to force me, cultural differences. I said no when my brother asked because his empty cup was right in front of him and right next to him was the water cooler. He literally didn't have to even get up to get water, that's how close it was. He could just grab his cup and turn, but no, the jerk wanted me to get up and go around the table to get him water. My parents both got angry with me for saying no. I did explain my no, and told me to get him water. He's older than you and he's your brother. Their argument. So I get up, grab his cup and fill it with water. I turn to hand it to him and he has his hand out to grab it. Before he can reach for it, I flip the cup over, spilling the water on his lap and say, "Here's your water." Of course my parents were even more pissed at what I did and the mess. They did force me to clean it up, but considering my lack of effort in trying to clean it up, I got a couple of napkins and placed it on the floor. They ended up having my brother clean it up since they didn't want to. Another thing about cleaning, the family always thought I sucked at doing dishes when I just simply hated doing it and leave them still dirty, so they wouldn't even ask me to do the dishes. As an adult now, lol, yes, I do clean my dishes thoroughly. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.